Okay, everyone. Hello and welcome to our week 2 of our virtual boot camp. Tonight, we're going to be talking about booking your virtual beauty sessions. And so last week, just a little quick review, we talked about the different types of appointments that you can schedule virtually and the different resources or supplies that you need for them, whether you're doing beauty sessions over Zoom or if you are doing it via Facebook Live or a Facebook posting party. There's lots of different ways that you can hold your virtual appointments. And so go back and watch that session if you have not already, just so you know all of the ins and outs of what you need to do to be prepared, okay? Tonight, we're going to talk about how you actually book people for those different types of beauty sessions. And so the first thing, whether you are a brand new consultant or you are a little bit more of a seasoned consultant, the first thing that you always want to do is make a list. Start with who have you not yet facialed, or if you're brand new, a great way to think about it is who would I invite to my wedding, or who did I invite to my wedding? Like, what's my wedding guest list? Because that's about how many people you want to be getting down on your list to draw from for these bookings. And so if you're a new consultant, you might want to consider, trying to write down 100 names. The average American wedding, I believe there's at least 150 invitations that go out. So you definitely know that many people. It might just not be people that are like super close friends, but think about, your extended family, like any aunts or cousins or second cousins, or maybe friends of your parents that maybe were invited to your wedding, or think about coworkers, friends from college, friends from high school, neighbors. There's there's all kinds of people out there that we are acquainted with that we might not come to mind right away, but you want to really dig deep and try to hit that 100 people on your list, okay? If you are more seasoned, I guarantee you there are still people that you have not yet facialed, okay? And so go through your Facebook friends again, and then think about FRANK. So FRANK is an acronym that stands for friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, and kids, friends, parents. And so you probably know women through your children who's, their friends. And so all of those people are potential guests at your beauty sessions. And so go back and make a new list and make sure that you're not overlooking people. Don't prejudge people. Like, just write them down. If they are a woman with skin that you have not yet facialed, they belong on that list, okay? So that's the first thing that you want to do before you start booking. The next thing is to understand that booking is a mindset. If you go into booking and you're all hesitant and you're scared or you're nervous or you sound like you're just not really confident in what you're doing, and I know as a new consultant, that's how you're going to feel, but we can still reach out to people with excitement and positive expectancy, because your energy and your excitement is what they feed off of. And so if you seem iffy, they will be iffy. But if you're excited, they will be excited. And so that is something that's really important to understand when you're reaching out to people, because you will get what you expect. And so don't be like, oh, she's probably just going to say no, or, don't prejudge. You can't do that. You have to be excited, and reaching out via the phone so they can hear your excitement is great. But there's also great scripts for texting or Facebook messaging as well. Okay. Another thing to understand with booking is that you are going to have people tell you no, and that is okay. And it is normal. In our business, like, you need to get the no's in order to get the yeses. And so people are not saying no to you. They are just saying no to what you are offering them. And that's okay. Not everyone is interested in skincare and makeup, and not everyone is maybe, in a position where they're ready to be interested in something like that. And that's okay. And so just know that the no is just not now, or it means next. And so sometimes we do need to follow up with people several times, because maybe it's just you caught them at a bad time, or they said, you know, in a couple months. Check in with them, because sometimes it is just a better time and they are, you know, more ready to book with you in a different season. So the follow-up is also very, very important. Okay. And so let's just talk about the type of script that you're going to use if you are a new consultant and you are inviting your guests to a launch party with your sales director. These days, we are mostly doing virtual launch parties, usually over Zoom, either with samples or just QVC style, which means that you're just, you know, your sales director is just holding up the products, talking about them. Maybe she's demoing it on the back of her hand. So that way they can at least see the difference between one hand and the other. But it doesn't matter. You can either send them samples or they can just tune in and watch. But this is an example of a script that you might want to use if you are a new consultant just getting up and running. So, hey girl, I recently started my Mary Kay business. Crazy, right? My mentor is doing a virtual beauty session for my closest friends and family, and it would mean so much to me if you could attend. Here are the details. This is the date. You will be invited to a Zoom event where there will be fun prizes for participating. Grab a drink to sip on while you relax for an hour. My mentor will be doing an anti-aging and detoxifying demo with our products. Get a half-price mascara for joining me. What do you think? And so that is the type of text that you will want to send. And we have that typed up with emojis. And so I really think that if you're texting people, including emojis just makes a huge difference, because they allow us to convey emotion. And that is so important when you're booking, to show your excitement and things like that. Okay. If you are a more seasoned consultant, then what I have found to always work well for me is asking people for help, because women love to help other women, right? Wouldn't you agree? And so letting people know how they can help you and what the challenges that you're working on and what you need practice with is a great way to ask. And to feel, you know, I always feel more comfortable asking someone for help, like when I have a challenge. Like, so maybe I'm testing a new format of my skincare party on Facebook, or maybe I'm testing a new, you know, maybe a new product and I just need some opinions. Using that verbiage is always really beneficial, because, you know, women also like to be the first to try new things, right? They like to give opinions and they like to get a sneak peek and they like to be like, oh, this is new. I haven't seen this before. And so I feel like there is some excitement for your customers or your friends when you're asking them to help with that. Okay. And so an example of what you could say to someone like that would be, hey girl, I am working on a new format for our virtual beauty sessions and I need some fresh feedback about my presentation and opinions about our products. Would you be willing to join me for one of my beauty sessions? And then you just give them the details that I talked about. You know, we'll be invited to a Zoom event where there'll be fun prizes. You can grab a drink and to sip on. Or, you know, you can let her know that there will be samples mailed out and she can actually play along with you from home. And so there's lots of different ways that you can customize that based on the type of appointment you're wanting to do. But that's going to be the general way that you're going to want to reach out, because women always are willing to help other people when they know there's a challenge and when they know that they're working on a goal. Okay, so it is so important for you to let people know that you have a goal and that they can help you with that. All right, so any questions so far about booking or who to book or anything like that?
Are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, because I missed the first 10 minutes because I have to take my children.
That's totally fine. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to move on. So let's say that you reached out to your friend and you used the script and yay, she said yes, she would love to help you, or she would love to attend a beauty session with you. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to book her for a date and time. So I recommend that you already know in advance the days that you are willing to work and the times that you are willing to offer to people for beauty session appointments. And so for me, I know that Monday nights during our meeting, that's now a time slot where I can invite guests to experience the skincare, or Thursday nights or Saturdays. Those are days that I am willing to work. And so when I'm booking people, I try to book them into those time slots. The beauty of working virtually is that you can have multiple hostesses per time slot. And so that is a great way to work efficiently. And so if you already have someone booked for, a Thursday night at 8 o'clock, it's okay to have another hostess booked at that time. And especially if one happens to fall through, then you're still going to have one that's going to hold. And so it's just a really smart way to work efficiently, so that, because we know that cancellations happen, life happens, things come up, and people need to reschedule. And so, especially in this virtual world, it's very, very smart to be double booking your available time slots. Okay. So, how do you book her for a date and time? You always want to offer 2 options for her, because if you just say one's good for you, that's way too broad, way too open. You always want to give her options to help her narrow it down. So for instance, you want to say, okay, would you prefer an evening or a weekend? And then let's say she says a weekend. Great. Would you prefer a Saturday morning or afternoon? Morning. Okay, I can do 10 o'clock either this Saturday or next Saturday. What's good for you? So you always want to give her 2 choices, because then she'll pick one. And so that way you are staying in control of your time and when you want to offer a time slot to be available. And you're not overwhelming her with a ton of choices. And it's easier to pick something when you're just offered A or B, right? Instead of an open-ended question. Okay, so once she books a date and time, you'll want to turn it into a party, ideally. And so that means her having friends join her. So that way your time, again, is going to be more efficient. It's not just a one-on-one session. Now, you might have some people that prefer one-on-one sessions. They don't want to invite friends, and that's completely okay. What I recommend doing with those people is plugging them into like a Monday night where they can come as a guest to your virtual meeting and experience the skincare that way, because you're already going to be there for your training. Or you might just have a Thursday night where you're going to invite a bunch of individual facials to do it at the same time. And then again, it's a good use of your time because it's not just one person. Okay. So that's a great way to work with people who are more interested in just doing it without friends. Okay. So one of the really important things about asking her to invite friends is that you really want to have a hostess program that you are excited about. Okay. And so if you are not excited about your hostess program, then she is not going to be excited about it. And you want to give her enough incentive to be like, heck yes, I'm going to invite 6 people because I really want this. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you guys the hostess program that I am currently using. Okay. So this is my current hostess plan. And so when she has 6 guests and $200 in sales, she gets a 50% off shopping spree on anything that she wants. Okay, so that's one option. The second option is if she has 2 or more guests, no matter the sales, she can choose $75 or more worth of product and get $40 off. So that's $75 for $35. And so you're going to want to work with her based on how she's motivated. And so some people are going to be like, heck yeah, I need like a whole new revamp of my skincare. So I'm going to go for getting 6 guests so I can get a 50% off shopping spree. Like that's going to make the most sense for her. So that's what she's going to run with. Or if she's kind of like not motivated by that, then she might be okay with option 2, but giving her those choices in the beginning and then coaching her and working with her to help her achieve that, that's our job. And we'll talk a little bit more about coaching a little bit later. And then if she has some opportunity for extra free bonus product. If she has 10 or more guests, then she can get a satin hands for free. And if 2 of those guests book and hold their own party, then she'll get a microdermabrasion set for free. And so I think that when you have choices about, you know, what is going to be most motivating to you, you're going to work hard to get them. And then you can, you know, be in touch with your customer and your hostess to make sure that she's getting all the free product that she wants from her hosting her beauty session. Okay. So we need to know what our hostess program is and be excited about it. So that way your guests are, or your hostesses are excited about it. So how do we turn it in from just a single booking to having her invite guests? So one of the ways that you want to do that is, you know, once you book that date and time, then you're going to say, so I'm hoping to practice in front of small groups to get comfortable with speaking in front of people I don't know. Can you think of a few ladies that might enjoy learning about anti-aging skincare and some masking treatments that would be willing to join you? I have some really amazing hostess perks, like a 50% off shopping spree and additional free bonus products when you share your beauty session with friends. What do you think? And so, again, you need to be excited about what's in it for her so that she's like, huh, okay, yeah, I can ask some people. Great. Let me show you my hostess program. What one are you most excited about? Option 1 or option 2? When you learn that and find out what she's most excited about, then you can help coach her on how many people she should be inviting to make sure that she has that many, at least 6 people attend. Because if she wants 6 people to be present, then she's going to need to invite 10 to 12 to 15 or possibly more people. Okay. And so it's our jobs to be communicating with her throughout, you know, from the time that the party is booked until the date of the party. The communication that happens then is called coaching. And we need to do the follow-up and the coaching and the, you know, that communication with her to make sure the party holds and that it actually holds with the number of people that we want to make sure that it's going to be worth our time. Okay. All right. So when she agrees and she says, yeah, that sounds like fun, I can definitely reach out to some friends, then you're going to want to say, great, I'm going to send you a text that you can send out to your girlfriends to invite them, just to make it super simple for you. Can we touch base in 48 hours to see how many people you have? And so you always want to set a follow-up time so that way you have that next point of communication and that she has a deadline that she's working towards to get those responses from her friends. And so then once you have that initial head count, you can either help her think of some more people. You know, maybe she's at only 4 and she really wants to get 6, like give her some ideas. Okay, well, so tell me who you've invited so far. Okay, great. So how about, do you have any neighbors, or do you have any girlfriends from college, or do you have any parents of your kids' friends, or, you know, who else can we think of? Brainstorm with her so she can be like, oh yeah, I should reach out to this person. Because sometimes we're just thinking like of our initial close circle and we're not thinking of inviting other friends into that, right? And so you want to like jog her memory and help her think of some more women that she can invite. So so that way you can help her increase her numbers. Okay. So you want to be that coach for her to make sure that she's getting all of the hostess credit that she is excited about. So you'll give her a script. And then here's something that I have found really useful for me when it comes to sending or to getting people's information ahead of time. Okay. I like to use a Google form that I text out to people in advance, and they fill out the information about their name, their email, their phone number, their address, their skin type, and a few other questions. So that way it's kind of like a profile card that we would have had them fill out in person, but it's just a virtual one. And so that way you're getting all the information that you need from those customers that you can later put into your customer base on Mary Kay In Touch. Okay. What that also does is it allows you to know if you're using samples for this party, where to send those samples and what formula that you need to send. Okay. And so that is a really important piece. And again, I'm going to just share my screen so that you can see what that Google form looks like. So this is one that I created through my Google, Drive. And so it just says, name, address, all of that information, birthday for, because obviously we want to know who our birthday customers are, who invited them, have they used Mary Kay in the past, what their age range is, if they have any skincare concerns, that their skin type that they want to learn more about, and then their features. So that way, if you're doing a color appointment with them as well, you have all that information here, so you know which color card to send them in the future. And then I also like to have a little short marketing video for them to watch, because if they watch it in advance and then fill this out, I will offer them a half off product. And so, because it's just a way, again, layering people with our business opportunity is really important. This is a great way to do it. Not everyone's going to do it, but you might have some people who will fill it out, and that always just helps you in advance to kind of know who might have some interest or who might not. Okay, so that Google form is something that you can very easily create, I highly recommend using that to capture your guest information ahead of time. Okay, so any questions about any of that so far? No? Okay. So let's say that you are going to be sending out samples for this appointment. One of the things that you might want to consider doing is charging, $3 to cover the cost of shipping. And here's why you might want to consider that. I have found through experience that sending samples for free, a lot of times it's very worth it, because more often than not, I am closing a sale with these new faces that I'm meeting. And so it more than pays for my shipping cost. Okay. But every now and then, especially when it's a party, because like if I'm communicating with that person and I have a connection with her, then more likely than not, she follows through with the appointment that we set up. But when it's her guests and I might not have as much communication with them, of course I am reaching out to them once I've gotten their responses from their Google form. I do send a text and introduce myself. I do let them know what to expect for the party, and I let them know that I'm mailing out their samples. But I have also found that sometimes by them paying like a small $3 fee to help cover shipping, it makes a difference in them showing up, because they have a little bit of skin in the game. And so that might be something that you want to consider doing, especially if you're a newer consultant. And if you're finding that maybe, that it doesn't matter as much and you don't need to do that, then that's fine. You don't need to do that if you want to eat that cost, because shipping is a business write-off for us. But so I just want to throw that option out there, because as a new consultant, I just think sometimes it's helpful to do that. And I have some great scripting for how you can say, hey, these samples are free. I just ask for, help covering the cost of shipping and handling. And there's, and no obligation to purchase. I like to include a $10 gift card in my packets. So that way it kind of offsets them paying the shipping, but like, at least if she bails on me and like ghosts me completely and I never hear from her again, my shipping was covered, right? So let's talk about that a little bit more. What's another way that you can connect with guests ahead of time for the party? So one thing that you can do is, once you have a hostess who's agreed to invite friends, you can create an event or a group for her party, and you can kind of, do some pre-party postings. You can do a live video to introduce yourself. She can invite all her friends who are attending there. So that way they get to see and hear from you a little bit beforehand and create more of that connection. But another thing that you can do is, if you are using Zoom, you can record your session, and then you can later post that session in that group. And so if any friends had to miss it, you know, life happens, things come up, they can go back and watch it later on. And so let's say that she had 6 people confirmed, but 1 or 2 had to cancel last minute. Well, they can go watch the playback and still close with you. And I would still give them, your hostess, credit for having 6 people. Because as long as those other 2 people are watching it and then closing with me, then I would give her credit for that. So that's another way that you can kind of like help your hostess reach her hostess credit goals. You could also offer her friends the opportunity to plug into one of your other events that week, so that they can still use their samples and still have the opportunity to close with you. So we just want to get creative with trying to catch as many people as possible. Even if for whatever reason something comes up and they can't attend the event that they were initially invited to. Okay. So any questions on that before we move on? Questions, comments? No. Okay, great. So let me just look at my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. So again, going back to this thought process of coaching, it really is our job as consultants to help the hostess get the most out of her party, get her excited, keep her excited, and work with you, partner with you to make sure that it's a success for both you and her. And so that is going to mean, like I said earlier, communication between the time that you book her and the time that the party is held. Because if we book her and then like the day before we're like, okay, haven't talked to you in a week, but are we still good? The likelihood of that holding is going to go down when there hasn't been communication, when there hasn't been expectations set, when there hasn't been any coaching on, you know, how, like who to invite, how to invite, you know, confirmation that people are still coming. So that is so important to be communicating with her. It doesn't have to be every day. And there's not really like a set like formula of how often you should be checking in with her. But there are certain things that you'll want to, you know, address ahead of time with her to make sure that she's prepared and she has enough people there. And so it might be like 2 or 3 touch points between the time that you book and then the time of the party. Maybe letting her know who you've heard from, who's filled out the Google form, who hasn't filled it out yet, things like that. And then, you know, maybe saying, oh my gosh, Phil, you have 8 people confirmed. Like if you have 2 more, you can earn that free satin hand set. Can you think of anyone else that could join us? And so those are all ways that you should be communicating with your hostess to keep her excited. But you definitely don't want to just book her and then assume that it's going to hold with 0 communication between those times. Okay. Another question that is really helpful to ask her is, you know, maybe the day before the party starts, you know, ask her like, okay, so out of these ladies who are coming, you know, who do you think would be a great hostess and would be willing to book a beauty session so that you can, you know, maximize all your free bonus product and get that microdermabrasion? Because if you ask her ahead of time, then it kind of helps you to know, like, keep your eye on the person who's like the sparkler at your session, right? Or she might be able to like encourage that person and be like, you know, that you want to book a session. And so planting that seed for her to kind of point out those people who are more, you know, like the hostess type, that's going to be helpful for you and it's going to be helpful for her so that she can maximize her hostess credit. Okay. So that is going to apply to, you know, mostly your sessions that you're going to be doing, you know, over Zoom. But the same goes, I would offer this same hostess credit for someone who is doing a Facebook posting party for me or a Facebook live party for me, because based on how many people are engaged and then close with me, that is really the number that I'm looking for. I want to be able to close those people afterwards and connect with them. And so if they have, you know, 6 to 10 people participate on one of those types of parties, you know, the same hostess credit applies as we're doing this for a Zoom party with or without samples. Okay. So that really covers most of what you need to know for how to book your virtual beauty sessions. Next week, we're going to actually go into how to do a virtual beauty session, and we're going to do it over Zoom, and you're going to get to watch me do my presentation with you as my guest. Okay, so you who are watching, the consultants, you are going to be the guest. You don't have to watch your face on screen unless you want to, but that's how it would be with your, guests at a live party. And so I want you to be able to experience what it's like for them, and then what it's like for you as the consultant who needs to be giving them instructions. Okay. And so I really think that it's an important thing for you to understand what they're experiencing, because we don't ever open up samples and have to put them on our face and still kind of listen and, all of that. And so it might be a beneficial thing for you to do it along with me, so that way you know what your guests are experiencing, and then you can also be like, okay, it would have been really helpful if someone had told me how to use this product, and so I need to make sure in my presentation I'm saying this to help my guests, And so next week, that's what we're going to do, and we're going to record that so you can go back and watch it and take notes for yourself so you can practice before your own presentations. But that really does cover, what you need to know for booking, making your list, having your mindset in the right place, having a great hostess credit program, and then having a good script to use so that you can start reaching out to your people. The last thing I will say is that, especially if you are a new consultant, I really want to challenge you to reach out to as many people as you can in your first week to 2 weeks, and shoot to get 5 to 8 to 10 bookings or more on your books. That power start, that 30 faces in a 30-day time frame, is a game changer in our business. We know this is a numbers business, and so if you are putting products on faces, even virtually, at least 30 faces in a month, you should be selling $2,000 to $3,000. And if you are sharing with at least half of those people, which is 15, we know 1 out of every 5 women who listen to our business opportunity, they're interested in starting their own business. And so if we work the numbers, we're going to see Mary Kay work for us, and we can still do power starts virtually. And I even believe that you can reach more people this way in a month if you are intentional about booking up the time slots that you have available. Okay. So I challenge you guys, every one of you who is on this call tonight, in the next week before we meet again, I want to see who has the most bookings. And so get excited about using these scripts, making your list, and booking up as many virtual parties as you can, because it's going to be a game changer for the rest of this month. Okay? So any final questions before we end our session tonight?
I have one about the scripts.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that going to be on your website under the training tab?
Yep, it's on my website, which is Strong and Courageous Unit website, or strongandcourageousunit.com, training center, and then virtual parties.
And is it okay if I go on there and use those?
Yep, it's available for anyone.
I want to be sure it's okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep, that's why it's there.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Kelly, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to pour into us, because I know that you don't have to do that, and I know that it's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and just taking time out and doing this means a lot. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for that affirmation. I really appreciate it. And it is a pleasure to share what I have learned, and I hope that it is beneficial for all of you. And if you are a new consultant watching this, I hope that this gives you the confidence to get started and really hit the ground running, because this is such a tremendous opportunity. And I really believe that even in this virtual world that we are living in at the moment, we still have so many opportunities to connect with people. And we have the opportunity to be the light for people, because I know this is like a lonely time for some when we're not, as social as we are used to being and seeing people on a regular basis. I know some of us are not going to work and we're working remotely and we're just not around people as much. And so we have the opportunity as consultants to use our business to bless people with that gift of girlfriend time and getting them excited about connecting with friends and family, because it's just easier to not make the effort sometimes, but once you do and you get to connect and hang out even virtually, like it always fills your cup, and people walk away just, you know, feeling so much happier. And so I love that we have the opportunity to give that to women and to help them feel refreshed and important. And so keep that in mind as well when you are doing your booking calls. You have a gift to offer to women. And I just want you to be confident in sharing that. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for watching tonight. I hope you all have a great evening, and I will see you back if you are tuning in live. It's going to be on Thursday, September 10th for our next session.